Good morning, Algebra 1 students. I hope that we're having a great day so far, and I hope that we're having a great week. Today's video is going to be all about multiplying polynomials, okay? That process, how we ultimately come to an answer. And please don't forget your asynchronous assignment that goes along with this video, all right? Other than that, let's have a great day, and let's get right to the video.
Today, we're going to be talking about multiplying polynomials, and by the end of this video, I hope that you're able to multiply two binomials or a binomial by a trinomial. So when it comes to trying to multiply polynomials, there's really only one method that's going to help you out the most, and that's the distributive property method. We remember the distributive property from our previous work going on, and there's really not much difference going into this. The main important thing is that we remember, like they show in the diagram here, you need to make sure that you multiply each part of your binomial or trinomial by each and every part of the other polynomial, okay? You will sometimes hear another method called the FOIL method. I don't really like teaching you that because later on down the line, people are always going to remember FOIL, but they will never really remember what it means or even necessarily how to do it. Okay, so let's just rely on what we know with the distributive property method. So let's start off. Our first one, simplify using the distributive property method. So I have x minus 2 times x plus 7. So I'm multiplying two binomials together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I take my x and multiply it by x plus 7. And take my minus 2 or negative 2 and multiply that by x plus 7. Okay, so x times x gives me x squared plus 7x, and I have minus 2x minus 14. And now this is when I need to try to combine my like terms. So I see that I have 7x minus 2x. Those are my only like terms, so I can combine those, and I ultimately arrive to an answer of x squared plus 5x minus 14. Let's try working on question C since we have some room for that. So I'm going to make sure that I distribute my r and my 5 to each part of the other binomial, okay? So I do r times 5r plus 10 plus 5 times 5r plus 10. So r times 5r gives me 5r squared. R times 10 gives me 10r. Let's make that look more like an r there. 5 times 5r gives me positive 25r, and 5 times 10 gives me positive 50. So now again, I have my like terms in the center here, 10r and 25r. So I'm going to combine those, and ultimately I arrive to an answer of 5r squared plus 35r plus 50 as my final answer. Let's move on to our next set of questions. Now I'm multiplying a binomial by a trinomial or a polynomial. Okay, so I'm going to again try to do A and C. So starting off with A, similar situation here. I need to make sure that I multiply each part of my binomial to the corresponding polynomial that is next to it. Okay, so I need to make sure I multiply 2x by 3x squared plus x minus 1, and then negative 6 times 3x squared plus x minus 1. So 2x times 3x squared gives me 6x to the third power, because remember, when I'm multiplying my variables, x times x squared, I add my two exponents together. So 1 plus 2 gives me 3. Since I'm multiplying by the same base, that goes back to one of our exponent laws, okay? And then I do 2x times positive x, which gives me 2x squared. 2x times negative 1 gives me minus 2x. Negative 6 times 3x squared gives me minus 18x squared. Negative 6 times positive x gives me minus 6x. And negative 6 times negative 1 gives me positive 6. So again, I need to go through and I need to identify what my like terms are. so that way I can add them or I can combine them. So I'm going to go forward. I identified my like terms, so I know that I'm going to have 6x to the third still. 2x squared minus 18x squared is going to give me minus 16x squared. And negative 2x minus 6x is going to give me minus 8x. And my constant plus 6 stays the same. And that's going to be my final answer for question A. If you're having problems following along again, please make sure that you go back, take it slow, take it step by step, do whatever you need to do. But I'm going to end up writing question C on another page here. So I have b squared minus 4b plus 3 times, I believe, b minus 2. That is correct. So even though I have my trinomial before my binomial, my distribution never changes. It still remains the exact same. I need to make sure that I multiply b squared by b minus 2, and I multiply negative 4b times b minus 2, and I need to multiply my positive 3 by b minus 2. Same thing is happening every time. Okay, I still perform the distributive property. So b squared times b gives me b to the third power, and b squared times negative 2 gives me minus 2b. Negative 4b times b gives me negative 4b to the second power, and negative 4b times negative 2 gives me positive 8b. And then 3 times b gives me positive 3b, and 3 times negative 2 gives me minus 6. So I've done all of my distribution, and now what I need to do is I need to combine my like terms. I need to identify them first and then combine them. So I'm going to go ahead and identify what my like terms are. And I'm just going to go ahead and double check that I multiplied everything correctly, and it looks like I did. And those, in fact, are my only like terms. So if I'm going to write this in standard form of a polynomial, meaning that I write it with the leading term that has the highest exponent, I start off with b to the third power minus 4b squared. I have negative 2b plus ab plus 3b. Well, that's like 11b minus 2b, so I'm going to end up with positive 9b, and then bring down my constant minus 6, and that is going to be my answer. Let's move on to our last set of questions. Again, they're just going to ask us to simplify, and this is when we have to use basically everything that we have learned so far, adding, subtracting, and multiplying in this case, as well as our order of operations in order to help us, because we have special brackets here that are meant to kind of help bring our focus to a specific area first. So I'm only going to do A and leave B for you to do at a separate time, but it looks like when I zoom in on A, I have specific brackets here that tell me I need to look inside of the parentheses first, okay, or look inside of the brackets first, and I see that I'm adding these polynomials together. I know that's really kind of hard to see. I'm adding my polynomials together, which means I need to identify what my like terms are, and I need to add them together. So just give me a moment to color code what my like terms are, and I go from there. So my outside, my binomial remains the same. So that still is x plus 2. And then inside my bracket, I get 2x squared, because x squared plus x squared gives me 2x squared. 3x minus 2x gives me positive x. And negative 6 plus 4 gives me minus 2. End bracket. And in fact, I can just change out these brackets to be parentheses. They essentially are the same thing anyway, but I know that some people are a little bit more comfortable seeing parentheses. So now this just turns into multiplying a binomial by a trinomial, which again, I do the distributive property here. So I multiply by x times 2x squared plus x minus 2. and I multiply my positive 2 by 2x squared plus x minus 2. So I need to make sure that I distribute all the way through. So x times 2x squared gives me 2x to the third power. X times positive x gives me positive x squared. And x times minus 2 or x times negative 2 gives me negative 2x or minus 2x. My positive 2 times 2x squared gives me positive 4x squared. My positive 2 times positive x gives me positive 2x. My positive 2 times negative 2 gives me minus 4. So I'm almost done. My last step, I need to try to identify what my like terms are. I'm going to highlight those so I know to combine them. So I start off with 2x to the third. That remains the same. I have x squared plus 4x squared, which is going to give me plus 5x squared. And the thing that's interesting here, I have minus 2x and I have positive 2x. Since I have a minus and positive of the same value, this actually creates a zero pair. So they cancel each other out. So in fact, I don't have to write plus 0x. I can just write nothing, okay? And then I need to bring in my constant. And I ultimately end up with 2x to the third power plus 5x squared minus 4 as my final answer. And those are all the slides and all the questions that I have for you today. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me on Schoology, or you can leave a comment in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing you next time, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day.